June is PTSD Awareness Month, and a bill which would help treat PTSD in military veterans is making its way through Congress. The hope is that it would dramatically decrease the number of veteran suicides. The author of the bill is Congressman Scott Perry. He represents Dauphin County, Cumberland, parts of York County as well. Joins us live this morning on the Fox 43 Capitol B. Congressman, it is good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us as always.
Well, great to be with you, Matt, and thanks for mentioning the bill and, of course, PTSD or PTSI Awareness Month. And of course, every single day while we sit here, yesterday it happened, it's going to happen again today. On the average, 22 of our finest men and women in uniform are going to take their lives. And as a person who was honored to wear the uniform for many years, I knew that we just weren't getting to, we were trying to find a solution to it, but we were not really being effective. People need to know that right now, this SGB, stellate ganglion block, which is an injection into your neck, has an 85% effectiveness rate immediately. So there's no long-term waiting to see if it will work or not. Usually they know at the moment they're getting the injection. It is approved by the VA, Matt. It's actually happening in the VA, but only a very limited number of facilities, and service members must fail every other regimen before they can get this one. 22 a day.
And it's a staggering number, and you are an Iraq War veteran. To someone who has never experienced what PTSD is, who's never experienced a PTSD episode, describe what that is like.
Well, look, I haven't either, to be clear, but as we understand it, the fight or flight syndrome that you would have, Matt, or anybody would have in a very dire circumstance where your life was on the line, that happens for a few moments, right? And then it's usually over. It's very acute. It happens. You either fight or you flee and get yourself out of the circumstance. But imagine if that were occurring all day long, every day. And that leads to alcoholism, drug abuse, broken homes, lost jobs, and eventually, unfortunately, the taking of lives by these service members. And so what SGB does initially, or I think more predominantly, is stop the fight or flight syndrome that these veterans or anybody with PTSI is suffering, so that they can get to their life, so they can get to other treatments. Oftentimes, the SGB is the only treatment they need. It stops that fight or flight syndrome issue from occurring, so they can have a normal life again.
The bill still has to be taken up in the House. We will definitely monitor that as the days go on. I want to ask you this because we've been trying to get you on the program, and thankfully that you are here now, but we've been trying to get you on the program since January 6th. That was the day when you were among 138 House Republicans to vote against certifying the 2020 election. Given what we know today, that there is still no evidence of widespread voting fraud from the election, would you still vote that way?
I still would, Matt. Just to be clear, my objection wasn't about voting fraud, even though we're still over 100,000 more votes in Pennsylvania than actually voters in Pennsylvania on election day. So there's obviously something amiss there. My objections were about the process where the legislature passed bills regarding election day, and then unilaterally, either the Secretary of State or the state Supreme Court, unconstitutionally, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many Pennsylvanians, just unilaterally changed the rules, such as your vote counts even though it shows up after election day, or that you can put a vote in a drop box, or that your signature or your person, so to speak, is unverified if you vote. The legislature never planned for those things, never provided for those things. The legislature writes the law, makes the law, not the Secretary of State, not the state Supreme Court. And so those are amiss in the law. And so if that's the case, it seemed appropriate to me to do exactly what my colleagues on the other side of the aisle had done for 20 years prior to this, which is make some objections so that we can sort these things out. Our elections, Matt, as you know, in a democratic republic, this is how we settle our differences, and we have very stark differences, but we must be able to trust them, and there has to be one set of rules for everybody, not one set for these folks and another set for these folks. And that was literally the circumstance on election day, if you include things like curing of ballots, et cetera.
I have more of a philosophical question for you, because you alluded to just how split everything is right now. Your district, the 10th, is one of the most politically diverse districts and most competitive districts in the country. 53-47, 51-49, your last two elections, they were the closest of your career. Democrats in the 10th say you're not listening to them. What is your reaction to that?
Well, of course, I'm listening to them. We don't always agree on everything, but I'm respectful and my door is always open. I am listening to them. Most bills, including the PTSD or the Treat PTSD bill, is a bipartisan bill. So we work with the other side of the aisle every time we have an opportunity to, but we're going to have differences. And the majority of folks in the 10th district, formerly the 4th, agree with the positions that I'm advocating on their behalf.
Do you feel that it is a politician's purpose to serve all their constituents in the districts or just the ones who vote for them?
No, that your elected official position, whether you're at the township level right on up to the presidency, is to serve your constituency to the best of your ability, understanding that it's split. So you're making tough decisions every day. You just got to do the right thing, go out, explain yourself, and earn that vote every single day. And it seems to me at this point that I've done that, and the record reflects that.
We're unfortunate. We're up against time constraints, but I do want to ask you quickly about
Sure.
two resolutions which you recently voted for. Back in May, a bill to condemn hate crimes against Asian Americans, and you were the only congressperson
Sure.
from Pennsylvania to vote against this. What message do you think that sends to the Asian American community in your district when you vote against that bill?
Well, again, absolutely racism, bigotry, making decisions based on a person's appearance is unacceptable in America. Our Constitution outlines that. The people in my district, regardless of which side of the aisle are on or who they are as a person, they know that about me. That bill, in my opinion, elevated some people above other people. So I'm for equal justice under the law, not unequal justice under the law. And so I voted accordingly so that everybody has the same, everybody is judged by the law, by the same set of standards. And that's the way it's supposed to be in America. And that's what I voted for.
And just yesterday, the House voted to award Congressional gold medals to all Capitol and D.C. police officers for their protection on 1/6. The vote was 406 to 21, and you voted no. Why?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, especially the officers who have lost their lives. I've signed on to legislation to recognize them and give them the awards that they are due, which were included in the bill yesterday. But what is absolutely outrageous is politicizing their supreme sacrifice while in duty, while in service, while in uniform. That's what that bill did. This is not about politics. It should not be about politics. The speaker trying to protect herself. She's the chief security officer at the Capitol. That officer probably, there's a contribution to his untimely demise by the politics of the situation where he's pushed out beyond the barriers, killed by a radicalized religious zealot. And the speaker doesn't want to have a conversation about that. Politicizing these accolades and this recognition is unacceptable to anybody in uniform. They absolutely should be recognized, but it should not be politicized.
That is the note that we have to end on. Sir, thank you for joining us on Fox 43 Morning News. I promise you the next time we speak, it'll be in person.
Great. Looking forward to it, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman.